Vice-Chairman Roy.
B127.
Mr. Speaker, sir, on 16 September 2022, that is some 6 months back, Government approved the elaboration of the National Sexual and Reproductive Health Policy 2022 and the National Sexual and Reproductive Health Implementation Plan 2022-2027. The objectives of the National Sexual and Reproductive Health Policy are to empower people to make informed decisions about their sexual and reproductive health, ensure that their sexual and reproductive health rights are respected and protected, as well as improve access to a comprehensive and integrated sexual and reproductive health care and treatment services across all life stages. The development of the National Sexual and Reproductive Health Policy provides a unique opportunity to define common vision and mission, set goals and objectives, identify priorities, assess emerging issues and challenges, areas for action, and to elaborate a strategic plan to strengthen the health system delivery and to focus on curative, preventive, and health promotion aspects of sexual and reproductive health rights. Mr. Speaker, sir, since the launching of the National Sexual and Reproductive Health Policy 2022 and the National Sexual and Reproductive Health Implementation Plan 2022-2027 in October 2022, the following activities have been initiated by my ministry. First, setting up of a National Sexual and Reproductive Health Steering Committee at the level of the Ministry of Health and Wellness, chaired by the Senior Chief Executive. Second, setting up of subcommittees in respect to priority areas identified in the plan. Third, holding of awareness campaigns across the island. Fourth, setting up of a community sexual health clinic. Fifth, continuous professional development approved training and capacity building of health professionals on topics such as preconception care, modern methods of contraception, maternal health, child health and breastfeeding, sexually transmitted infections and infertility. 6. Provision of emergency contraception on a 24-hour basis in regional hospitals. And 7, broadcasting of TV and radio programs on sexual and reproductive health. Furthermore, my ministry is working on the modalities for the implementation of the following activities. First, counseling of postpartum contraception in postnatal wards on a daily basis. Second, introduction of home visits by midwives and community healthcare officers. Third, introduction of postnatal clinics in primary health centers. Fourth, allowing for male participation during consultations, that is antenatal, family planning and others. And fifth, sensitization sessions on sexual and reproductive health in the community, social welfare centers and schools and tertiary centers. Mr. Speaker, sir, my ministry is also in the process of reviewing the maternal and child health handbook to ensure continuum of care, consultations on the introduction of childbirth preparation classes in primary health centers, social centers, and women wellness centers have already been initiated. Additionally, to enhance and improve sexual and reproductive health of the Mauritian population, my ministry is working in close collaboration with other ministries as well as with non-governmental organizations. In this context, a workshop on mapping sexual and reproductive health services by various stakeholders will be held in coming weeks. This will enable us to standardize level of care of sexual and reproductive health care and training. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. With regard to the sexually transmitted infections, which has been mentioned by the Honourable Minister, can the Honourable Minister inform the House about the measures being taken to reduce the transmission and impact of the sexually transmitted infections in the Republic of Mauritius? Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir. In regard to reducing the transmission and impact of sexually transmitted infection in the Republic of Mauritius. Now, Mr. Speaker, sir, on a general note, more than 1 million people worldwide are infected with sexually transmitted infection each day, the majority of which are asymptomatic. And every year, 374 million people contract an STI. Now, in Mauritius, the main clinics dealing with STI are the skin clinics, that is the dermatology clinics at the regional hospitals. Since the last few years, 2016, the STI have increased from 339 cases in 2016 to 497 cases in 2021. And more of these concerns are cases of syphilis were recorded among pregnant women attending antenatal care clinics with a positive rate of 4.3% for 2021. In Roderick Island as well, there is a rise in STI from 35 cases in 2015 to 151 cases in 2021. So these are the figures. In another sexually transmitted disease called gonorrhea, 35 cases and 116 cases of syphilis for 2021, this is according to the Health Statistics Report. Now, what the Ministry is doing in order to reduce the transmission and impact of these infections. So this is included in the plan, which includes measures to prevent STI, increased educational and awareness intervention in the school, and regular organization of awareness days, promotion and wider distribution of male and female condoms, improve access to screening, not only in dermatology departments as previously, but also in antenatal consultations, national daycare centers for immunocompromised occupational health unit, very important because we do screen for foreign workers, and at the level of primary health care, Banyan Community Health Centers, working together with some NGOs. So all these being done, and we've already completed a chlamydia prevalence study within 1 year. So all these are the action taken, especially to reduce the transmission and impact of sexually transmitted infection.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. We appreciate the effort being done. However, we have taken note that there is a rise of teenage pregnancy, the cases of teenage pregnancy, étanos, as we say it. Can the Honourable Minister tell us about what's being done, what his ministry is doing to improve the sexual and reproductive health in the Republic of Mauritius, especially for our teenagers? Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir. So in view of cases of teenage pregnancy being reported, it's good to mention some global figures. In 2021, according to UNICEF, an estimated of 14% of adolescent girls and young women give birth before the age of 18, 14%. And in Mauritius, the number of live births among adolescents has declined significantly over the years, from 1,053 cases in 2017 to 858 cases in 2021. So this is the decreasing trend, and I would like to thank the Ministry of Gender and Equality for their efforts also in reducing the teenage pregnancy. Now, in the same year, adolescent population was 170,000, resulting in 0.5% pregnancies among minors. So it's very important to note these figures. Now, these majority of cases occur in adolescents 16 years or older. And to prevent teenage pregnancy and improve the sexual and reproductive health of adolescent girls, this policy, the 2022 National Policy on Sexual and Reproductive Health and the Implementation Program, identifies priority areas to address the sexual and reproductive health of children and adolescents in and out of school. My ministry, in collaboration with the Ministry of Education, conducts awareness campaigns at the school level on sexual and reproductive health. Outside the school, for young people not scholarized with the Ministry of Gender, as parents of the primary educators of children, my department also runs awareness programs on sexual and parental education with parents together with other ministries. Minors over the age of 16, the age of sexual majority, have access to contraception and advice about their sexuality. Minors under the age of 16 who need personalized sexual health advice in school or with caregivers. Ministry ensure that pregnant adolescent girls receive appropriate and confidential prenatal care without prejudice and receive all the necessary social assistance through the Ministry of Social Security. They also receive support from the Ministry of Social Security and necessary multidisciplinary medical, social, psychological support. A teenage health plan, including sexual health component, will be soon coming in the coming month. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. I don't know if you have the answer to this question, but I would like to ask you a question with regard to the fertility rate in Mauritius. Can the Honorable Minister provide us with further information, if ever he has it in his possession right now, about the fertility rate in Mauritius and the National Population Policy of 2020? Can you please elaborate, if ever you have the answer right now? Because I know it isn't really pertain to the main question. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, so it's very important, this question of fertility rate, because it's the replacement of the population, which is the level should be 2.1 children per couple. So this is the guidance, having a replacement rate of 2.1 children per couple. In 2021, that is 2 years back, the total fertility rate dropped down to 1.37. And that means that the number of people getting to advanced age compared to the live birth, that there is a total imbalance. So in this context, the government has established an interdepartmental committee on demographic policy, chaired by the Vice Prime Minister, Minister of Education, Higher Education, and Science and Social Technology, Honorable Lila Devi-Ducon. And from there have been several meetings for the last 2 years, and hopefully the committee will come upon some strategic directions and the policy. So that will be waiting for the coming month to come. Yeah.
Next question.
B128.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed that the last station officers qualifying exam was conducted on the 30th of April 2022 by the Discipline Force Service Commission. On the 22nd of December 2022, the Discipline Force Service Commission had informed the Mauritius Fire and Rescue Service that it has decided to cancel the whole exercise regarding the ongoing qualifying examination for the post of a station fire officer due to the fact that some candidates who took part in the written qualifying exam were not eligible as they did not reckon 5 years service in a substantive capacity in the grade of firefighters. Information regarding the number of candidates who participated in the examination and the number of candidates who were eligible to sit for the examination are sought from the discipline force, and the latter has informed that same could not be disclosed.
Can the Honourable Vice Prime Minister tell the House whether Mrs. A.K. daughter of the High Official of Mauritius Fire and Rescue Services was eligible as per criteria laid down in the advertisement issued on the 22nd of December 2020?
I mean, the Ministry of Local Government does not look after the eligibility of the candidate. All the information, all the application, any information are forwarded to the discipline force for assessment and further interview, whatever.
Next question. B1 to 9, sir.
Mr. Speaker, sir, since 1st July 2022, no contribution towards COVID-19 vaccine has been collected on the price structure of mogas and gas oil.
I also sent the removal of some of the taxes.
Well, Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm sure the honourable member would appreciate that any change in the price structure will have to obtain the assent of Cabinet, since it is a policy decision which the government has to take.
Can I ask the Honourable Minister, the fact that there has been a considerable fall in the price of the barrel of petroleum products from USD 120 to 80, is the STC considering a fall in prices in the days to come? When is the next exercise expected?
Mr. Speaker, sir, the PPC is meant to meet in May. And of course, there are several factors that are taken into consideration in determining the price of mogas and gas oil. But I can tell you right now that the petroleum prices on the international market are very volatile.
I continue. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Can the Honourable Minister inform the House as to the amount collected for each additional rupee for each litre of diesel and petrol?
Unfortunately, I do not have the figure, but I can tell you right now the amount collected as at 28th of February 2023 stood at 2.5 billion. On the contrary, the deficit in the subsidy account as at March 30th stood at 570 million rupees.
The STC uses a rate for the dollar, which is 45.35 to the rupee. May I ask the Honourable Minister whether the STC can consider to have a special rate from the Bank of Mauritius so that we can have a stable exercise?
Well, Mr. Speaker, so we, like any other trader, we buy at the same rate with the Bank of Mauritius. Of course, if there is the possibility of buying at a specific rate, we will consider.
Remember, the table has been advised that PQ B176, B198, B186, B187, B183. With regard to 187, there's a confusion. It could be either 167 or 187. The clerk would clarify this. B183, B206, B145, B175, B139, B159, B201 have been withdrawn.
Next question.
B130.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the Bank of Mauritius is required under Sections 26 of the Bank of Mauritius Act to maintain the confidentiality of information gathered in the performance of its duties. Hence, any information pertaining to the ultimate beneficial owners of SBL is confidential, and the Bank of Mauritius is prevented by the Bank of Mauritius Act from disclosing any information relating to the affairs of the bank or any of its customers.
The question I'm asking has nothing to do with the affairs of the bank or the customers. It relates to who owns a bank which is taking deposit from Mauritian. And under the law, under Section 7 of the Banking Act, there is a duty on the central bank to ensure that the shareholder is a fit and proper person. So this is why we have to know who is the shareholder so that we can ascertain whether that shareholder is a fit and proper person.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I have to comply with the provisions of the Bank of Mauritius Act, and I stand guided by it.
I know he's not the substantial minister, but at least has he got any information from the Bank of Mauritius that this bank, Silver Bank, has complied with the banking act in terms of experience, the applicant and the directors having sufficient experience in banking matters?
Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, I don't have any information with that regard.
Next question. B131.
Sir, with regard to Part A, I'm informed by the Consulate of Saudi Arabia and Mauritius the Saudi government charges for Umrah visa for Mauritius are approximately 300 Saudi Riyal. I'm also informed that there are other associated costs and charges, including inter alia, medical insurance fees, and online processing fees, which may inflate the cost for issuing of a visa to approximately 875 Saudi Riyal. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm apprised that Umrah pilgrimage is open all the year round without any quota restriction. Given that Umrah visas are issued directly by Saudi authorities, we do not have the exact figures. However, we have approached the Saudi authorities to obtain information on the number of visas issued for Umrah for Mauritian residents. As per the figures obtained from Statistics Mauritius, 17,734 Mauritian residents have traveled to Saudi Arabia since March 2022 up to March 2023. Regarding Part C of the question, I'm informed by the ICC that the local fees charged by travel agents for obtention of visa range between 700 rupees to 1,000 rupees per person.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Honorable Minister mentioned of an average quote of 300 riyals to 875 riyals. I wish to point out that this fee, the same sort of fee, is being claimed in the United Kingdom and other countries to approximately £500. There is an excessive markup in the processing of visa by certain tour operators in this country. Can I ask the Honorable Minister whether he can seek with the Saudi authorities that the ICC, which already deals with Hajj visas, can also be given a MOFA license for issuing visa for Umrah, which will ensure a competitive approach?
Mr. Speaker, sir, it is very difficult for me to react on this question or on the issue of whether ICC should deal with the organization of Umrah as it is doing for the organization of Hajj. For years now, ICC has been organizing and facilitating the pilgrimage of Hajj, but we also do know that when it comes to Umrah, this pilgrimage is open all year round. There is no quota restriction, as I mentioned. So it is very, very difficult for me at this stage to react on the issue of whether ICC should deal with Umrah pilgrimage. So certainly this is something that we can take up with the board of the ICC and see if it is feasible.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. 7,000 of Mauritian Muslim pilgrims, 1 billion rupees is the industry, hundreds of complaints against agencies. What will you please, Honorable Minister, do in your capacity to ensure that these pilgrims are not being milked up and subjected to a lot of problems when they go for pilgrimage?
Definitely, but we have to understand something, Mr. Speaker, sir, is that travel agents, local travel agents, are firstly granted licenses by the Ministry of Hajj and Umrah of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to be able to organize Umrah pilgrimage. So they do not, it's not that any travel agency in Mauritius have that mandate. They have to be licensed by the Ministry of Hajj and Umrah. That's the first step. Second step, it's only those who have received that license who have the authority to apply for a visa for Umrah. So before either the ministry or the ICC is able to take a call or able to step in this whole process, which is today independent of the ministry and the ICC, we will of course have to seek or consult the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the Ministry of Hajj and Umrah of Saudi Arabia. So at this stage, Mr. Speaker, sir, I can only put to the House information that has been gathered from the Saudi authorities, but when it comes to whether any action needs to be taken, we will of course need proper consultation with the Saudi authorities.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You said it's very difficult and only licensed agencies are able to arrange and organize Umrah packages. Unfortunately, maybe I understand your position that anybody, and I mentioned anybody in this country, if he's a Muslim, he can organize Umrah for people, and unfortunately, this leads to a lot of disaster. Finally, if you could use your good office in the quest of people going for Umrah, whether you could ask the Bank of Mauritius to make sufficient availability of Saudi riyals so that backyard dealings are no longer the norm. Thank you.
Well noted, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, the Honourable Minister in his reply gave a figure of 300 riyal and to add up of a total of 875 riyal for the cost of the visa. You will concur with me that there is a big difference between 300 and 875. If he can give the details of this difference, and even if he doesn't have it now, he can circulate it afterwards.
Of course. I'm not privy to the breakdown, but information that has been received is that government charges for visa is 300 riyal. But when you add associated costs, for instance, medical insurance, there are also online processing fees, this is when the charges inflate to approximately 875. So of course, I will look for the breakdown to have more, allons dire, visibilité sur le montant total qui est proposé aujourd'hui for visa applications and submit to the House. Thank you.
Next question.
B132. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Since the coming into office of our government, the basic invalidity pension, which was at 3,267, has been continuously increased to reach 10,000 rupees. This represents an increase of more than 206.3%. Moreover, in the last budget, a new measure was announced to care and assist the suffering of people suffering from an incapacity of 40 to 59%. Those eligible benefit from a disability allowance of 2,500. Having said that, Mr. Speaker, by virtue of Section 8 of the National Pension Act 1976, a person is entitled to the invalid basic pension if he is below the age of 60 and is found by the medical board to be suffering from a physical and mental disability of at least 60% for a period of at least 12 months. All applications have to be assessed by a medical board for determination of eligibility to the invalid basic pension on the basis of the 6th schedule of the National Pension Act and the medical guidelines. It is to be noted that claimants who are severely handicapped or bedridden do not have to attend the medical board. Assessment is conducted at their residence. In line with the National Pensions Act, the invalid basic pension is awarded for a period of not less than 1 year, after which the person is reassessed by the medical board, if need be, to determine whether the said pension should be continued or discontinued. It is of utmost importance to understand that at the time of awarding the pension, the duration for which the person will receive the said pension is clearly specified. At the expiry of the duration, the pension is stopped. However, there are cases where the medical board informs the ministry to call the person some 2 months before the pension will stop to be reassessed. As such, some 2 months preceding the date on which the pension is due to stop, a letter is sent to the beneficiary to notify him that a medical reboarding will be carried out for a fresh assessment with a view to determining whether he is still eligible for the pension or not. Persons with disabilities are therefore duly notified before their pension are discontinued. The applicant has a right to appeal to the medical tribunal in case his application is turned down by the medical board. I'm informed that since July 2022 to date, the ministry has received 17,561 applications for the invalid basic pension which were referred to the medical board. Out of the 17,561 applications, 14,712 cases have been processed and 6,992 have been found to be eligible for the said pension by the medical board, and 6,864 cases have been disallowed. Out of the 6,864 cases, 2,406 cases have appealed to the medical board, 437 appeals have been allowed, and 1,969 cases have been disallowed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Honourable Member mentioned the medical tribunal. Can you please tell us more about the composition of this tribunal?
The medical tribunal comprises two specialist medical practitioners in the field of the relevant illness and a law practitioner from the State Law Office as chairperson.
Can the Honourable Minister state whether it is possible that someone who is granted permanent invalidity pension has his pension interrupted?
I don't think so, because where the applicant suffers from an incapacity of more than 60% up to 100%, so the person will be granted the basic invalidity pension on a permanent basis. Well, the only reason I can find is if the person has passed away. Otherwise, if the basic invalidity pension has been awarded on a permanent basis, I don't think there will be an interruption.
Already canvassed. Thank you.
Next question.
B133.
Mr. Speaker, for years, Muslim widows whose religious marriage, nikah, were not registered with the Muslim Family Council were not eligible for the basic widow's pension. This issue has been left unaddressed for more than 40 years. Since I assumed office at the ministry, addressing this issue has been one of our priorities. I could not have left this issue unattended when many widows were suffering and struggling to make ends meet, especially where they have children. Life wasn't easy for them. I have had a word with the Prime Minister, who I must say was very supportive, as he was when I approached him concerning children less than 15 years with disabilities who were not eligible to the basic invalidity pension merely because of an age criteria. Our government has addressed both issues, bringing relief to so many families. Therefore, in the last budget, 2022-2023, it was announced that the basic widow's pension will be extended to Muslim widows through tardy registration of religious marriage before the Muslim Family Council. Amendments were consequently brought through the Finance Act to the National Pensions Act, the Social Aid Regulations, the Civil Status Act, and the Civil Status Muslim Family Council Regulation 2005. Regulation 4A was introduced in the Civil Status Muslim Family Council Regulation 2005 to allow the surviving female spouse of a Muslim religious marriage celebrated between 1st January 1992 and 30 November 1987, and between 1st December 1992 and 31st August 2022, to make an application to the Muslim Family Council for the tardy registration of a religious marriage. All applications for tardy registration had to be made in a prescribed form not later than 31st December 2022. I can also add that a reasonable delay of 4 months was given to the ladies to apply for the registration of the tardy marriage. So once the Muslim religious marriage celebrated during the above-mentioned periods are registered with the Muslim Family Council, applications are made to my ministry for either a surviving spouse allowance, where there are several spouses, or for a basic widow's pension, where there is only one spouse. With regard to Part A, of the question, I'm informed by the Muslim Family Council that 140 applications have been received for tardy registration of Muslim religious marriage, out of which 110 certificates of nikah have already been issued by the Muslim Family Council. With regards to Part B of the question, I'm informed that to date, my ministry has received 100 applications for the basic widow's pension from applicants who have already been issued with a certificate of tardy registration by the Muslim Family Council. Out of the 100 applications, 95 have already been awarded and 5 have been disallowed. The reasons for disallowance are as follows. Applicant's spouse had contracted a civil marriage with another person, and therefore the applicant cannot benefit from the surviving spouse allowance. Only the spouse who was civilly married was eligible to the basic widow's pension. Second, applicant is already drawing basic retirement pension and a carer's allowance, and is therefore not eligible for another basic pension. Thank you.
Yes, can the Honourable Minister specify a specific period being covered by the provision of tardy registration of Muslim marriages?
Well, as I have mentioned in my reply already, so it is the period between 1st January 1982 and 13 November 1987, and also the period between 1st December 1990 and 31st August 2022. You will realize that one period has not been covered, that is 1987 to 1990. Why? Because those widows are benefiting from a surviving partner's allowance under the Social Aid Regulations 1984, if my memory serves me right, in an amount equivalent to the basic retirement pension, that is 10,000 rupees.
Thank you, Speaker. Can the Minister inform the House within how many days should a Muslim religious marriage normally be registered with a Muslim Family Council?
Are you saying if someone gets married today, so 21 days, 21 days from the date the marriage has been celebrated?
Next question.
B134.
Mr. Speaker, sir, over the past 30 years, Mauritius has been experiencing growth in the number and proportion of people aged 60 years and older in the population. And this trend is expected to further increase in coming decades. It's worth highlighting that people aged 60 years and above as a percentage of total population was 9% in the year 2000, 19.4% in the year 2022, nearly double, more than double in fact, and is projected to increase to 36.5% in the year 2061. So the oldest old people, that is the proportion age, that the population age 80 years and above is projected to increase more than twofold from 26,432 in year 2021 to 65,461 in 2061. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to part A of the question, I wish to inform the House that my ministry is undertaking series of activities to cater for the health and quality of life of the elderly. On such activity is the fast-track system which has been set up for the elderly at all levels of healthcare delivery system. There are separate queues for elderly people at casualty and pharmacy departments. Elderly people are also provided with free spectacles and hearing aids. Other initiatives include, among others, the yearly immunization campaign targeting the elderly, which is ongoing, to protect them against seasonal flu, and domiciliary visits by medical health officers of the Social Security, the Ministry of the Social Security. Recently, elderly people have also been encouraged to get vaccinated against COVID-19 to protect them better. Additionally, regular health education programs, including screening, are organized to prevent complications of chronic diseases such as diabetes, hypertension, cardiac problems, and so on. Mr. Speaker, sir, since there are a greater number of elderly women at higher age brackets, a more focused and targeted approach is operational for health problems of elderly women in relation to menopause, reproductive health cancers, nutrition, and mental problems. In this respect, national programs are being implemented on maternal and child health, cancer prevention control, prevention of malnutrition, and decentralized mental health services, respectively. Moreover, in line with the, as earlier stated, the National Sexual and Reproductive Health Policy 2022 and the implementation plan, measures are being undertaken to ensure that the sexual and reproductive health of the elderly is given due consideration. Accordingly, required support is being given to any elderly patients concerned in a manner ensuring privacy and dignity. Mr. Speaker, sir, in regard to part B of the question, which concerns the National Integrated Care for Older People, ICOP, strategic plan elaborated by my ministry, same in line with the health sector strategic plan, HSSP 2020-2024, and the UN Sustainable Development Goals, and has been developed through the support of the World Health Organization. the National ICOP Strategic and Action Plan, which has been launched by the Prime Minister, Honorable Pravin Kumar Jagnnath, is a landmark step for our country. Mauritius is the first country in Africa to develop and implement a comprehensive action plan on addressing the healthcare challenges of an aging population. It will ensure that our country provides healthcare adapted to the needs of an aging population with a user-friendly and holistic approach at all stages of the aging process. One of the 55 activities planned under the National Integrated Care for Older People, ICOP Strategic and Action Plan 2022-2026, is the development and implementation of a carnet de santé, which is a free booklet that every senior citizen will be able to use so that patients, family members, and carers gain better understanding and control over their healthcare issues. The carnet de santé will also help improve coordination of care among all healthcare providers for every elderly person across the Republic of Mauritius, ensuring that care provided is tailor-made to the individual patient and that a holistic and proactive approach is used to address diseases associated with aging. Another activity under the National ICOP Strategic and Action Plan will be the yearly Age Well screening program for a wide range of diseases that affect the elderly, such as dementia, nutritional issues, mobility impairment, vision, and hearing loss. In addition, early dementia diagnosis clinics, which have been set up in recent years at Victoria and SSR National Hospital, will be extended to each of the 5 regional hospitals to ensure that Mauritians all across the island benefit from multidisciplinary care and counseling from a range of specialized healthcare professionals if they suffer from dementia. Several activities under the plan will focus extending and improving education and training provided to upskill healthcare staff, family members, and carers in how to care for our elderly, with the goal of empowering each and everyone with the knowledge and skills to better look after our elders. And moreover, the use of clinical care protocols in geriatric care across healthcare settings will ensure that benchmarks for a high standard of care are well defined and put to application in looking after elderly patients. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Ministry looks forward to fulfilling the objectives of the National Integrated Care for Older People Strategic and Action Plan over the next 4 years as we move towards this government's vision for our elders. Elder people age healthily with respect and dignity and enjoy their human rights. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Can the Honourable Minister give us further details on the yearly screening program and explain how this will help our elderly achieve a longer and a happier lifestyle?
Mr. Speaker, sir, on the yearly screening program. So the guidelines, there are six objectives. Aging is a process, so there are different capacities, different faculties, in fact, gets slowed down with age. So there are the 6 key healthcare domains that are central to the health and independence of elderly. That is, cognition is very important. Second is mobility. Cognition is memory, in fact. And second is mobility, vision, hearing, nutrition, and mental health issues. So this is how this carnet de santé will provide yearly assessment of the elderly as per the ICOP strategic plan. And this assessment will determine how these aging process, loss of faculties, being carried, with time. And while doing so, proper monitoring and appropriate treatment will not only result in longer life, but greater autonomy. That is very important, to have greater autonomy throughout the aging process. So under this action plan, each and every Mauritian aged above 60 years will be able to have access to this yearly screening package free of charge, and this holistic approach towards aging will help ensure that will offer the best model of healthcare possible to our elder population.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Can the Honourable Minister provide the House with information relating to the setting up of a geriatric healthcare unit? Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the geriatric healthcare unit, it's very important to have the geriatric healthcare unit, because this is how we are going to monitor the aging process. So this will comprise of specialists in geriatrics, medical health officers, nursing officers, and supporting staff, they will operate under the guidance and close monitoring of the consultant in charge, who will be part of and report to the National Steering Committee and the National Technical Committee, being set up to oversee and support the implementation of the ICOP. Now, in addition, the geriatric healthcare unit will ensure that early dementia diagnosis clinics, which have already been set up in some hospitals and that will be extended to other hospitals, will ensure that Mauritians all across the island benefit from this team. So it's, this geriatric healthcare unit will be, when the screening being done with the carnet de santé and being referred whenever it is important for them to have this assessment, the memory, the cognitive assessment.
Honourable members, the table have been advised that PQB 143, B166, B178, B160, B180, B205, B209, B155, B181, B142, B169, and B199 have been withdrawn. Next question.
B135. Mr. Speaker, sir, I propose to reply to B135 and B168 together as they relate to the same subject matter. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed by the Mauritius Society for Animal Welfare as follows. Over the years, the present system's approach to control the canine overpopulation has not had a long-lasting effect on curbing the stray population in Mauritius, and this is because it addresses the end result of the problem instead of tackling the problem at its source. The population of free-roaming dogs, both owned and unowned, in Mauritius is still a cause for concern, despite the culling method which was in place for a number of years. Besides, the modern and most sensitized public, along with several international organizations, have condemned the culling practice. The source of the dog population problem is the ever-increasing breeding population, that is, the population of unsterilized dogs. Numerous pet owners do not sterilize their pets and allow them to roam freely in their localities. Thus, puppies born from their pets are simply left on their own in the open, or abandoned in the wild, and along with the illegal breeding activities in some areas, the increasing population has become indeed a cause for concern. To tackle the free-roaming dog population, the Mauritius Society for Animal Welfare has implemented the Sustainable Project for the Dog Population Control in Mauritius. That Sustainable Project for Dog Population Control in Mauritius consists of 4 pillars, namely, first, mass sterilization of dogs; second, registration of dogs; 3, survey of dog population; and 4th, the catch, neuter, and release program. tackle the free roaming dog population, a mass sterilization project for owned dogs has already been launched since June 2022, wherein owned dogs are being registered and microchipped. Moreover, communication and education campaigns are ongoing on the importance of responsible pet ownership and the importance of sterilization. A digital platform has been introduced to provide information on the project and to allow online bookings for sterilization. Once the pet owner applies for a voucher, it is issued within 48 hours. Pet owners are offered the choice to bring their pets to the 3 EMSO stations across the island or take them to private vet clinics duly registered under the mass sterilization program to get their pets neutered at their convenience. The 3 EMSO stations are located at Roseville, Rosebel, and Plaine-Maillon. There is a 4th EMSO station being set up in Flac and will be operational in the coming weeks. A total number of 8 private vets and private veterinary clinics are offering their services for the sterilization of dogs. Regarding vouchers, a total number of 5,942 sterilization vouchers have been issued since June last year. Regarding free sterilization campaign, these are being conducted around the island. So far, free sterilization and registration campaigns have been held at Roseville, Plaine-Maillon, and Union Park. Sterilization and registration campaigns have also been held at different community centers in towns and villages to reach out to a maximum number of persons. Outdoor campaigns have also been held in areas including Dubreuil, Malherbe, Montagne-Longue, Cité-la-Cure, Bramstan, Britannia, Montgalcan, Albion, Sébastopol, Écoignard, Pointe-Sable, and last week, Plaine-des-Papayes. The upcoming places where the campaigns will be held are as follows: Saint-Julien-d'Hautemont, La Brasserie, Cottage, Roche-Noire, Pointe-au-Piment, Rivière-du-Rempart, Grand-Gobe, and Terre-Rouge, amongst others. To provide an extra help to those who do not have the means of transport, the EMSO has also been providing free transportation facilities during each of these sterilization campaigns. Furthermore, sterilization campaigns, EMSO officers have also been doing door-to-door sensitization campaigns before the campaigns being held at the community centers around the island. Adoption campaign forms part of the program of EMSO. The Catch, Neuter, and Release program, Mr. Speaker, sir, consists, as the name suggests, of catching, sterilization, and returning the dogs in the community. For this to happen, a close collaboration is required with NGOs and other stakeholders. The CNR method has been considered because of its success and popularity in several countries such as India, Italy, Brazil, Bangladesh, India, Thailand, just to name a few. The CNR program is being done by the EMSO, and in order to have a significant figure and achieve a target, an expression of interest to have the services of vets was launched. The first bidding for a service provider for the CNR project has been completed in December last year. The second stage of the bidding has been prepared and will be published in the local press in the coming weeks. Finally, I also wish to highlight the collaboration we are having with the Ministry of Housing, which is, I am informed by the Ministry of Housing that it is presently compiling a list of all requests received from NGOs and concerned individuals relating to a project for the accommodation of shelters for stray dogs. And this project is at this stage ongoing, and I may provide further information at a later stage. Regarding PQB 168, Mr. Speaker, sir, on the question of strays, specifically at Flac Public Beach, I am informed by the sorry, first of all, this matter does not fall under the responsibility of the MSO, but of the Livestock and Veterinary Division of my ministry. I am informed by the Livestock and Veterinary Division of my ministry that 3 dog carcasses were brought to the Livestock and Veterinary Division by flic en flac police relating to a case under inquiry OB number 417/2023 on 7th and 8th February of this year. On 7th of February, 1 dog was brought in by the police. Post-mortem was conducted by 2 vets of the ministry, and post-mortem revealed a suspicion of poisoning. On 8th of February, 2 further carcasses were brought by the police, and post-mortem examination, once again conducted by 2 vets of the Livestock and Veterinary Division, led to a suspicion of poisoning. These carcasses were in a state of advanced decomposition. Since poisoning was suspected in the 3 dogs, samples were collected and sent to the Forensic Science Laboratory for confirmation of suspicion of poisoning. I am informed that the police inquiry is ongoing.
Les secouristes qui font un travail extraordinaire ont fait la demande pour l'institution d'une police des animaux. Peut-on savoir que compte faire le ministre dans ce sens et quand?
First of all, I wish to seize this opportunity to thank a number of NGOs who are collaborating with the MSO on a number of issues. With regard to the suggestion of the creation of police des animaux, I can only, I have heard of this proposal, but it is still at an early stage for me to say what is going to happen. I can have consultations with the Commissioner of Police depending on availability of manpower, but consultations can be held with the Commissioner of Police. It's still at an early stage, Mr. Speaker.
Can the Honorable Minister inform the House if MSO has any legal rights to serve notice to irresponsible dog owners?
The issue concerns, if I understand correctly, there is a section in the law concerning compulsory registration. That section, Mr. Speaker, sir, has not yet been proclaimed. That is section 31, if my memory serves me right. The MSO has submitted a proposal for the proclamation of that section. That proposal is being studied at the ministry in consultation with other stakeholders because there are certain consequences once this section will be proclaimed. I can assure the House that the matter is being looked into and a decision will be taken soon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. In his answer, the Minister mentioned about private veterinary services that are being offered for sterilization. Can he table the list of veterinaries that are registered with the Ministry?
Yes. As I stated, there is a number of 8 private vets are offering their services. I don't have the list right now. I can provide it at a later stage. Yes, I don't have it right now. I can provide it at a later stage, Mr. Speaker.
Remember, the table has been advised that PQ B137, B138, B190, B200 have been withdrawn. Next question.
B136, please.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed by the Municipal Council of Vakwa Phoenix that the following cases of theft at the Phoenix Cemetery have been reported at its level and also to the Vakwa Police Station. Firstly, on the 22nd of December 2022, loss of copper pipes at the Phoenix Crematorium, evaluated at 78,909 rupees. And secondly, on the 23rd of January 2023, 4 aluminum frame enclosing private graves, which were fixed by the respective owners, were stolen. I'm informed that the necessary repairs have already been effected to the incinerator equipment, and same is operational. Besides the fact that watchkeeping service were already being provided on a daily basis from 18 hours to 9 hours the next morning, the Council has taken the following additional measures as a result of these cases of larceny. Firstly, because of this situation, only one gate near the office, instead of 4 gates, remain open to the public in order to exercise better control access to and from the cemetery. And secondly, on the 7th of March 2023, a request has been made to the Commissioner of Police to consider the possibility of fixing CCTV cameras in the vicinity of the Phoenix Cemetery in the context of the implementation of the Safe City project.
Can the Honourable Vice Prime Minister inform this House that has he received complaints about drug peddlers and drug addicts using the Phoenix Cemetery to operate in the recent days? This has been the case for the past few days.
Yeah, we are aware of the problem, Mr. Speaker, sir. Unfortunately, just to take Phoenix Cemeteries is about 16 acres of land. Okay, that's number one. And trying to control that, we don't have enough staff to control that. But the Public Health Department of the Council has made a request for the provision of additional funds for in the next financial budget estimate to increase the number of security guards posted at the Phoenix Cemetery.
May I press upon the Vice Prime Minister, especially for those proceeding for late burials, to have police assistance there for late burials, because there has been recent complaints of attacks from drug addicts on people attending and leaving late burials. If police assistance could be envisaged, pending implementation of CCTV camera.
Yeah, but I think, I don't know whether the municipality can ask for police assistance there or the family should. I don't really know, but I can look into it. I do appreciate the problem. It's a major problem, not just in Phoenix, but in many cemeteries across the island.
Next question.
B 140.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed by the Central Electricity Board that it is currently renting office space of an extent of 124 meters square at the ground floor of a building located at Temple Road, Rivière-du-Rempart, as well as 3 parking slots to accommodate its cash and customer service office. The office comprises only of 1 cash counter and only 1 customer service counter. However, in recent years, in view of developments in the area and increase in volume of activities, the Central Electricity Board has found that the current cash and customer service office no longer meets the requirements of its customers. The parking space was also found to be inadequate. Moreover, during heavy rains, the Central Electricity Board Cash and Customer Service Office is flooded as the floor level of the building is lower than the access road, thus causing serious inconvenience to customers and staff, as well as damage to furniture and fittings. The lessor was requested to effect the necessary repairs and upgrading works to the building in order to attend to the above problems and to meet statutory norms and standards. However, the requests had remained unattended. Mr. Speaker, sir, with a view to providing a better service to its customers and staff, I am informed that in line with prevailing procurement procedures, CEB launched an expression of interest through a press advert in March 2021 for the rental of office space in the vicinity of the existing cash and customer service office at Rivière-du-Rempart. Following the expression of interest exercise, a request for proposal was issued by the Central Electricity Board in September 2021. Subsequently, after an assessment by the Valuation Office of the Ministry of Housing and Land Use Planning, to the effect that the proposed rental rate was fair and reasonable, a letter of acceptance was issued to one Mrs. Shushila Devi Ramnaren on 11th May. Mrs. Shushila Devi Ramnaren. C'est bon? Okay. On 11th May 2022 for the lease of office space of an extent of 240 meters squared situated along Temple Road, Rivière-du-Rempart, nearing to the existing CEB office. The contract is for a duration of 2 years with the rental of 48,500 rupees per month. The lease agreement also includes rental of a minimum of 5 parking slots. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed that the Central Electricity Board is currently undertaking the works to customize the office space to meet the needs of its staff and customers, including fixing of custom furniture for setting up of 2 cash counters and 2 customer service counters, electrical installations, acquisition of telecommunication equipment, supply and fixing of 2 water tanks and associated plumbing works. The works are expected to be completed by the end of April 2023, and thereafter the new Central Electricity Board Cash and Customer Service Office of Rivière-du-Rempart will be transferred thereto. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Monsieur le ministre, la personne, le owner, comme vous dites, de ce bâtiment, si j'ai bien compris, est Madame Shushila Devi Ramnaren. C'est bien ça, hein? Ce bâtiment qui est connu à Rivière-du-Rempart pour le Ramnaren Building, vous êtes sûrement au courant, Monsieur le ministre, que ce bâtiment appartient au chairman de la SIT, l'époux de Madame Ramnaren, le monsieur R.R. Est-ce que, Monsieur le ministre, vous étiez au courant au moment de l'allocation de ce contrat pour ce bâtiment que le monsieur Ramnaren, le chairman de la SIT, qui est un homme public, qui est cité depuis quelques jours dans beaucoup d'allégations, est-ce que vous étiez au courant, vous, Monsieur le ministre, que ce monsieur Ramnaren, qui est un agent du MSM au numéro 7, a eu ce contrat du CEB?
Non, Monsieur le Président, je n'étais pas au courant, mais est-ce que un président, conseil d'administration d'une entité comme le CEB informe son ministre quand il y a des contrats pareils qui sont alloués? Non, Monsieur le Président, parce que le contrat a été alloué suivant les procédures d'appel d'offres et en toute transparence. Qu'est-ce que l'honorable membre veut insinuer en posant cette question? Qu'il nous dise qu'est-ce qu'il veut insinuer. C'est quoi? C'est quoi? C'est quoi? Monsieur le Président,
On a posé des questions, je suis en train de répondre en toute transparence. Les procédures ont été suivies à la lettre et je donne les détails. Il y a eu un appel à intérêt lancé le 20 mars 2021. Il y a eu 5 soumissionnaires. Parmi ces 5 soumissionnaires, 2 ont été retenus. Par la suite, le 29 septembre, il y a eu une demande de proposition de ces 2 soumissionnaires. Par la suite, c'est l'offre de Mme Sushila Deviramnaren qui a été retenue parce que l'autre soumissionnaire n'a pas voulu étendre la validité de son offre. Voilà.
Next question.
Maintenant que vous êtes au courant, Monsieur le ministre.
Au courant de quoi?
Laissez-moi terminer. Laissez-moi terminer.
Au courant de quoi?
Laissez-moi terminer. Pourquoi vous êtes irrité?
Parce que je suis au courant, je suis responsable de l'énergie.
Laissez-moi terminer. Le président m'a donné une question.
Au courant de tout.
Pourquoi vous êtes irrité?
Je ne suis pas irrité, loin de là.
Mais laissez-moi poser ma question.
Vous qui êtes tout le temps irrité. Allez, posez votre question. Posez votre question.
Maintenant que vous êtes au courant, Monsieur le ministre, que le bâtiment Ramnaren appartient à ce monsieur.
Non, j'ai dit le nom de madame.
Laissez-moi terminer.
No,
Mais laissez-moi terminer.
I am the speaker, you can't fight.
Mais
I am regulating.
Non, je refuse pas.
You can't insinuate something. The minister has just said the name is the name of a lady, and now you're saying the name of a man.
Monsieur le ministre, maintenant que vous êtes au courant que le monsieur RR, le fameux RR, t'en fais pas, est l'époux de celui qui a eu ce contrat pour ce bâtiment, et ce monsieur RR, monsieur le président, a eu des allégations de bribe money contre lui.
I disallow this question. I disallow this question. Next question, I disallow this question. Next question. Next question, please turn, is it? The next question would be nobody's turn. So that's a good one. So no further questions. Clerk, move on. Next question is for whom? Please, go ahead.
I have a question. B148 for you.
You put your question?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir. I wish to inform the House that the Commission for Women's Affairs, Child Development and Family Welfare and others extended an invitation to me as chief guest to the official ceremony of the International Women's Day 2023 in Rodrigues on the 8th of March this year. I had the opportunity during my half-day visit to reiterate the central government's commitment towards an inclusive society and to highlight on the cordial relations that exist between governments.
The minister, wait a minute. Continue, minister.
Okay. Thank you. I further emphasize on Rodrigues being part of the Republic of Mauritius has been included in the measures and policies intended for the development of the country and the welfare of the people. Mr. Speaker, sir, in the margin of the visit, I had a fruitful work session with the said commissioner and the representatives of the Commission, whereby we identified areas for common ground of collaboration, namely our fight against domestic violence, including the extension of the domestic violence information system, the DOVIS, to Rodrigues, the revamping of the National Women Entrepreneur Council, and the conceptualization of a national policy paper on the family. Subsequently, Mr. Speaker, sir, a team from my ministry proceeded to Rodrigues for a consultative workshop on the formulation of the national policy paper on the family. The officers of the Commission and the Mauritius Police Force, based in Rodrigues, working for the Brigade pour la Protection de la Famille, were trained on the use of the information system.
Can the Honourable Minister inform the House when the report on the national policy paper will be ready?
Mr. Speaker, sir, the consultation is ongoing. They have already started. I don't have a definite time frame on when the paper will be ready, but I can reassure the honourable member and the House that my ministry, in collaboration with all relevant stakeholders, is working d'arrache-pied sur ce papier. Merci.
You miss your turn, please go.
It's B144.
Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to part A of the question, I'm informed by the Mauritius Olympic Committee, MOC, that in a letter dated 17 March 2023, the Comité d'organisation des Jeux des Îles 2023, COJI, has officially informed the Conseil international des Jeux des Îles, CIJ, that the 11th Indian Ocean Islands Games would be held in Madagascar from 25th August to 3rd September 2023. With regard to part B of the question, I'm informed that the following 23 disciplines have been retained for the Games, namely athletics, including para-athletics, badminton, basketball 3x3 and 5x5, boxing, cycling, equestrian, football, including beach soccer, weightlifting, handball, judo, karate, kickboxing, wrestling, swimming, including para-swimming, pétanque, rugby 7 and 15, surfing, taekwondo, tennis, table tennis, archery, yachting, and volleyball, including beach volleyball. Mauritius, the Republic of Mauritius intends to participate in all the above-mentioned sports disciplines as well as youth activities. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to part C of the question, I wish to inform the House that a dedicated budget of 25 million has been earmarked in financial year 2022-2023 for the preparation of our athletes for the Indian Ocean Islands Games 2023. This budget is being used on the basis of the preparation plans submitted by national sports federations concerned. The budget is mainly used to cover expenses for the following activities. 1. Organization of competitions locally. 2. Participation in competitions abroad. 3. Organization of training camps locally. 4. Participation in training camps abroad. 5. Provision of transport facility during training. And 6. Purchase of sports equipment for training. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir.
The table has been advised that PQB 191, B203, B143, B195, B147, B163, B189, B204, B208, B161, B171, and B192 have been withdrawn. Time is over. Thank you very much.
Mr. Speaker, I move that all business on today's order paper be exempted from the provisions of paragraph 2 of Standing Order 10.
Question is that all the business on today's order paper be exempted from provisions paragraph 2 of Standing Order 10. Those in favor say aye, those against say no. Ayes have it.
Statement by Minister.
Mr. Speaker, sir, with your permission, following a statement made in the House at the sitting of Tuesday, 4th April 2023, having regard to the proposed construction of a first phase of 8,000 social housing units, and to the effect that no provision has been made for a specific constituency, I wish to set the record straight. Mr. Speaker, when, after the 2020-2021 budget announcement of the 12,000 housing unit project, the NSLD got down to the task of the implementation. It was estimated that some 55 sites corresponding to approximately 478 arpents of land across the island of Mauritius would be required to construct 600 units for inhabitants of each of the 20 electoral constituencies. It then became immediately obvious that the first major constraint faced would be scarcity of land, more specifically in the smaller and more densely populated constituencies. Nonetheless, no effort was spared to identify appropriate building sites in each of these constituencies. As time passed, and despite government using its very best endeavours to find appropriate land, whether private or public, it was recognised that not in all constituencies would it be possible to secure the extent of land required for construction of 600 housing units. Public expressions of interest for sale of private land to the NSLD, extensive research by the survey department of my ministry, and thorough inquiries at the level of parastatal organizations and publicly owned enterprises were to no avail. Moreover, as the project proceeded, it was found that a number of sites initially identified with a view to ensuring provision of social housing physically located in each and every constituency could not be considered. The reasons for various sites in different constituencies not being recommended in the event were many. Firstly, sites having a high water table or being flood prone. Secondly, unfavorable geotechnical investigations, including, for instance, lava tunnels, large cavities and caves. Thirdly, exceedingly high cost of on-site soil rehabilitation and retaining structures as prerequisites. Fourthly, high costs associated with imperative off-site infrastructural works. Unfortunately, it was often late in the day that sites initially found to be conveniently located, having regard to demand for social housing and proximity to social amenities and public utilities, it was often late in the day that these sites were often unexpectedly found not to be buildable for technical or financial reasons. For instance, and these are just a few examples, previously identified sites at Vallée-Pitot, Raoul Rivette Street in Port-Louis, Cité-la-Cure, Le Hochet, Camp-le-Vieux-Rosil, La Chaumière Branch Road, Rosil, although very desirable sites, had to be abandoned. Such occurrences contributed to the significant delay in implementation of the project, as the whole process of identification and vetting of sites had to be started anew. Faced with such a situation, government decided that whenever and wherever the targeted number of social housing units could not, in whole or in part, be physically located in any given constituency, the corresponding number of social housing units would be reserved for inhabitants for that constituency on the nearest appropriate NSLD new housing complex. Having regard to the first phase of the project, consisting of construction of 8,000 social housing units, that is 400 per constituency, the situation is as follows. Constituency number 1, Grand River Northwest and Portruy West, where land is available for 3,000 housing units at Pointe aux Sables, the balance of 100 units will be built at Coromandel, but reserved exclusively for inhabitants of constituency number 1. As regards constituency number 2, Portruy South and Portruy Central, where no appropriate building site is available, 350 units will be constructed at Arsenal and 50 units at Coromandel, to be attributed to inhabitants of constituency number 2 only. Constituency number 3, Port-Louis-Maritime and Portruy East, where, given that no appropriate building sites are available, 200 units will be constructed at Arsenal, 200 units at Richter, to be exclusively allocated to inhabitants of constituency number 3. Constituency number 18, Belle-Rose and Quatre-Bornes, 120 units will be constructed in the region of Avenue Poussepasse, which is in the constituency. A balance of 280 units will be constructed at La Source, which is found in the neighboring constituency number 14, but will be reserved for residents of constituency number 18. And finally, constituency number 19, Stenley and Rosil, where there is one site that is identified and buildable at Camp-le-Vieux for 200 housing units. The balance of 200 will be constructed at Coromandel, but earmarked exclusively for inhabitants of constituency number 19. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to assure this House that government is not only committed but determined to do its utmost in order to alleviate the significant hardship pertaining to housing experienced by the poorest and most vulnerable sections of our population, whoever they may be and wherever they may reside in our country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Sir, I have two statements to make. I wish to inform the House that on the 7th of April 2023, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Regional Integration and International Trade issued a communiqué wherein the government of Mauritius strongly condemned the acts of violence in the Al-Aqsa Mosque at such a sacred time for Muslims, Christians and Jews. Mauritius also called upon all parties concerned to exercise restraint and refrain from taking actions that escalate tensions. The latest occurrences are indicative of the heightening of tensions between Israel and Palestine since the beginning of 2023. Indeed, the violence had since the early days of January fueled speculations that another intifada, as in 1978 and 2000, could be imminent. On the 13th of February 2023, the Israeli government announced that it had authorized 9 settlements in the occupied West Bank. This led to a statement by the UN Security Council highlighting that the expansion of settlement activity and continued Israeli settlement activity is impeding the viability of the two-state solution. The Israeli government rejected the UN Security Council statement as one-sided. Quote, on the 26th of February 2023, following talks in Jordan, Israeli and Palestinian delegates made a joint commitment to take immediate steps to end the recent surge in violence. The two sides affirmed their commitment to all previous agreements between them and to work towards just and lasting peace. Both sides also committed to immediately working to end unilateral measures for a period of 3 to 6 months.
Despite this statement, violence continued in the occupied territories, causing more than 25 deaths in February 2023, while the Israeli government declared its intent to deploy forces and introduce additional security measures to act against terrorism. In response, the Palestinians condemned the dangerous escalation of the conflict. Those talks also included a commitment by Israel to stop discussion of any new settlement units for 4 months and to stop authorization of any outpost for 6 months. The parties agreed to reconvene in Egypt in March 2023 to determine progress towards these goals. However, despite the commitments, the intensified violence took place in the West Bank, while the talks in Jordan did cast further doubts over the commitments expressed by both sides. In March 2023, sir, the wave of violence continued with regular exchange of fire between the Israeli and Palestinian forces. It is also to be recalled that on the 30th of December 2022, the UN General Assembly adopted resolutions 77/247 entitled Israeli Practices Affecting the Human Rights of the Palestinian Territory, including East Jerusalem. The UN General Assembly decided on the 30th of December 2022 to request the International Court of Justice to render an advisory opinion inter alia on the legal consequences arising from the ongoing violation by Israel of the right of the Palestinian people to self-determination from its prolonged occupation, settlement, and annexation of the Palestinian territory occupied since 1967, including measures aimed at altering the demographic composition, character, and status of the holy city of Jerusalem. The UN General Assembly resolution also asked the ICJ to render its opinion on the legality of the occupation and the legal consequences that arise from all states and for the UN from this status. The matter is ongoing at the ICJ. We strongly condemn the excessive use of force that resulted in the death of civilians. The cycle of violence of the first 3 months continued in April 2023. On the 5th of April, clashes erupted after Israeli police entered the Al-Aqsa Mosque to eject Palestinians who had barricaded themselves inside overnight to pray. Some 400 Palestinians were arrested, and the Palestinians retaliated and fired rockets at Israel from the Gaza banks. On the 6th of April 2023, a second expulsion raid was perpetrated by the Israeli forces on the Al-Aqsa Mosque, and subsequently the UN Security Council met in closed session to discuss this aggravating situation. Sir, as of yesterday, the situation remained extremely tense as the Israeli forces killed a 15-year-old Palestinian during a raid on a refugee camp. On the other hand, thousands of Israeli settlers marched to the illegal outpost of Eviatar while being heavily protected by Israeli forces. Some leading members of the Knesset, the Israel Parlement, including ministers of the Israeli cabinet, joined the march to legalize the outpost. Mauritius has always voted for all resolutions at the UN condemning the Israeli illegal occupation and all blatant human rights violations against the Palestinian people. Sir, my ministry is closely following the situation at the level of our permanent mission to the United Nations in New York. I thank you, sir. Sir, my second statement. As the House is aware, the Industrial Property Act was proclaimed and came into force on the 31st of January last year. The new IP framework has broadened the scope of protection of IP rights to include the protection of utility models, layout designs of integrated circuits, plant breeders' rights, and geographical indications. Furthermore, the Act also provides for the international filing of applications for the protection of inventions, industrial designs, and trademarks. In order to give effect to the provisions relating to the WIPO-administered treaties referred to in the Industrial Property Act, steps have been taken by my ministry to accede to the following 3 treaties. Firstly, the Patent Cooperation Treaty, which is a treaty administered by the WIPO, which makes it possible to seek patent protection for an invention simultaneously in each of a large number of countries by filing an international patent application. In this regard, I wish to inform the House that Mauritius has already deposited its instruments of accession to the Patent Cooperation Treaty on the 15th December 2022, and our accession has become effective on the 15th of March 2023. The number of countries currently party to the PCT is 157. The PCT system, sir, has many advantages for the applicant, for the patent office, and for the general public. It streamlines the process of fulfilling diverse formality requirements. It postpones the major costs associated with seeking multinational patent protection, provides a strong basis for patenting decisions, and is used by the world's major corporations, research institutions, and universities when they seek multinational patent protection. Secondly, sir, the Madrid Protocol. The Republic of Mauritius deposited its instruments of accession to the Madrid Protocol on the 6th of February this year, and our membership will become effective on the 6th of May 2023. The number of contracting parties to the Madrid system is 114, and it includes the EU and the Organisation Africaine de la Propriété Intellectuelle. The Madrid system for the international registration of marks is governed by the Madrid Agreement concluded in 1891 and the protocol relating to that agreement concluded in 1989. The system makes it possible to protect a mark in a large number of countries by obtaining an international registration that has effect in each of the designated contracting parties. An application for international registration may be filed only by a natural person or a legal entity having a connection through establishment, domicile, or nationality with a contracting party to the agreement or the protocol. The Madrid system offers several advantages for trademark owners. Instead of filing a separate national application in each separate country of interest in several different languages, in accordance with different national or regional procedural rules and regulations, and paying several different and often higher fees, an international registration may be obtained by simply filing one application with the International Bureau through the office of the home country in one language, English, French, or Spanish, and paying only one set of fees. Mr. Speaker, thirdly, the Hague Agreement. The Republic of Mauritius deposited the instrument of accession to the Hague Agreement on the 6th of February of this year, and our membership will become effective on the 6th of May 2023. Currently, 79 contracting parties constitute the Hague Agreement, including the European Union and the Organisation Africaine de la Propriété Intellectuelle. The Hague Agreement is an international registration system which offers the possibility of obtaining protection for industrial designs in a number of states and or intergovernmental organizations, both referred to as contracting parties, by means of a single international application filed with the International Bureau of the World Intellectual Property Organization. The Hague Agreement is constituted by two international treaties, the Geneva Act of July 2, 1999, and the Hague Act of November 28, 1960. The international registration of designs would result in simplified registration procedures and IP portfolio management. There will be a saving of costs. The applicant does not need to provide translations of the documents, nor to keep watch on the different deadlines for renewal of a great number of national applications which differ from one state to another. He will thus avoid paying a series of national fees and fees to agents in different countries. Simplified procedures would facilitate access to new markets. All this, sir, would have a positive impact on research, development, and innovation activities. Sir, in the context of the accession of the Republic of Mauritius to the Patent Cooperation Treaty, which became effective on the 15th of March of this year, the WIPO, that is the World Intellectual Property Organization, organized a seminar on the PCT system at the Westin Hotel on Monday, 3rd of April 23. The objective of the seminar was to create greater awareness among the users of the patent system, as well to train the officers of the IP office on the effective implementation of the PCT-related provisions in the domestic legislation. This seminar was attended by many participants from academia, research and development institutions, legal practitioners and agents, inventors, and the staff from the IPO office of Mauritius. The one-day seminar was followed by 2 days practical training for the staff of the IP office, but was also attended by a number of stakeholders who had expressed interest in the subject. Sir, to conclude, WIPO will continue to collaborate and provide assistance to the relevant stakeholders and users of the system to ensure a better understanding and an effective implementation of the other treaties we have acceded to. Thank you.
Public bills, third reading.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I move that the Supplementary Appropriation 2022-2023 Bill, number 2, of 2023 be read a third time and passed.
Seconded. The question is that the supplementary appropriation 2022-2023 bill number 2 of 2023 be read a third time and passed. Those in favor say aye, those against say no. Ayes have it.
Public bill, second reading.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I move that the Waste Management and Resource Recovery Bill be read a second time.
Seconded.
Monsieur le Président, depuis son entrée en service en 1997, plus de 10 millions de tonnes de déchets solides ont été éliminés à la décharge sanitaire de Marchicose, d'une manière écologiquement sûre et saine. La protection de la santé publique fut le principal moteur de l'intervention gouvernementale, à travers la suppression progressive des décharges à ciel ouvert et la construction et l'exploitation de la décharge sanitaire a permis cela. Nous avons noté une augmentation de déchets solides au site d'enfouissement de plus de 33% au cours des 20 dernières années. La quantité moyenne de déchets solides par habitant mis en décharge quotidiennement a augmenté régulièrement, passant de 0,6 kg en 2000 à 1,18 kg en 2022. De plus, au cours des 10 dernières années, nous avons connu une augmentation annuelle de 2% des déchets mis en décharge, soit près de 500 000 tonnes en 2022. La raison principale pour expliquer cette situation est la croissance notable du niveau de vie qui a résulté invariablement en une surconsommation préjudiciable à l'environnement. En 2020, mon ministère, avec l'aide de l'Université de Maurice, avait réalisé une étude de caractérisation des déchets. Cette étude a révélé que 50% des déchets mis en décharge sont de nature organique, à savoir des déchets alimentaires et des déchets verts. Les autres composants, appelés déchets secs, sont constitués de 17% de papier, 15% de plastique de différents types, 4% de métaux, 5% de verre et 6% de matières textiles. Monsieur le Président, dans un scénario de statu quo, on s'attend à ce que la quantité de déchets produits atteigne environ 650 000 tonnes de déchets d'ici 2030, si rien n'est fait. Monsieur le Président, cette situation est considérée comme non soutenable et nous devons impérativement découpler la production de déchets de la croissance économique. Nous devons également prendre des mesures audacieuses pour détourner les déchets du site d'enfouissement qui a atteint un point de saturation. Au fil des ans, nous observons également une augmentation constante dans les provisions du budget pour la gestion des déchets solides. Le gouvernement dépense environ 1,8 milliard de roupies par an pour la collecte, l'exploitation et l'entretien des stations de transfert et du site d'enfouissement, ainsi que pour le transport des déchets vers la décharge. Sur une base unitaire, le coût de la gestion des déchets solides est en moyenne de 3 600 roupies par tonne de déchets solides municipaux. En tant que petit État insulaire en développement, nous sommes cependant confrontés aux défis de moyens financiers qui sont limités et de la sécurité de l'approvisionnement des ressources. Les pratiques actuelles, qui comprennent l'importation de grandes quantités de matières premières et de biens, les fuites de déchets émanant de la production locale et la surconsommation entraînent malheureusement le gaspillage de ressources rares et le remplissage du seul site d'élimination à un rythme alarmant. L'augmentation rapide des émissions de gaz à effet de serre, telles que le méthane, constitue également un problème non négligeable. Notre consommation intérieure de matière, CIM, qui est un indicateur du niveau moyen de matière utilisée dans une économie, était de 9,42 tonnes par habitant en 2017. Ce chiffre est supérieur de 35% à la moyenne subsaharienne. Cette culture du jetable, cependant, n'est pas économiquement et écologiquement viable. Les déchets sont l'affaire de tous, individus, ménages, quartiers, groupes communautaires, écoles, petites et grandes entreprises, autorités locales, gouvernement central et médias, et ne doit pas être considéré comme relevant de la seule responsabilité du gouvernement. Notre système de gestion de déchets ne peut plus être simplement composé de la collecte, du transport et de l'élimination par voie d'enfouissement des déchets que nous produisons. Notre objectif doit être plus large, en tenant compte la façon que nous consommons les matériaux et les ressources, et la façon que nous concevons les produits que les ménages et les entreprises utilisent. Monsieur le Président, le modèle actuel d'économie linéaire, prendre, fabriquer et gaspiller, devra donc passer à un modèle d'économie circulaire. Le modèle d'économie circulaire vise à donner la priorité à la consommation responsable des produits, à l'efficacité dans l'utilisation des ressources et à la réduction des déchets dans tous les secteurs économiques. Monsieur le Président, selon les estimations du Food and Agricultural Research and Extension Institute, le FARE, sur une production alimentaire totale d'environ 2,4 millions de tonnes, importations comprises, 5 281 tonnes sont gaspillées chaque année, soit environ 1,73%. Ces déchets alimentaires finissent généralement dans des décharges qui produisent des quantités sans précédent de méthane, un gaz à effet de serre plus puissant et plus nocif que le CO2, contribuant de manière significative au réchauffement climatique. Pour relever ces défis en vue d'assurer l'efficacité des ressources et d'atteindre les objectifs stratégiques en termes de sécurité alimentaire et de réduction des déchets alimentaires, il est impératif de passer à ce modèle d'économie circulaire. Il est nécessaire d'adopter cette approche sur plusieurs fronts, avec des actions et des interventions à différents niveaux de la chaîne d'approvisionnement agroalimentaire. Pour appliquer le concept de circularité au secteur alimentaire, il est donc nécessaire de trouver des solutions pour éliminer les déchets. Je dois ici saluer l'initiative de l'ONG Foodwise qui lutte activement contre le gaspillage alimentaire à Maurice depuis plus de 4 ans, en mettant en relation des entreprises alimentaires locales avec des ONG dans le besoin. Cette initiative assure à ce que les excédents de nourriture ne finissent pas dans les décharges. Je dois comprendre que les principaux donateurs sont des entreprises alimentaires locales qui soutiennent les objectifs de réduction des déchets alimentaires. Tous les dons sont redistribués afin que ces ressources soient utilisées. Depuis 2018, plus de 4 millions de repas ont été redistribués aux personnes dans le besoin. Il faut aussi souligner que l'année dernière, la loi sur l'alimentation a été modifiée pour faire de la distinction entre la date d'expiration et la date de préemption. Avec cette nouvelle loi, les produits peuvent désormais être vendus ou donnés jusqu'à 7 jours après leur date de préemption. Je citerai également l'initiative de la Déchetech, qui est une plateforme d'échange de déchets en ligne pour les matériaux de construction, fournissant une banque de matériaux de construction de seconde main au niveau local. Ce sont quelques exemples qui s'inscrivent directement dans notre philosophie d'économie circulaire. Dans ce nouveau modèle circulaire, d'économie circulaire, les activités de fabrication et de consommation sont axées sur les 9 R. Refuser, repenser, réduire, réutiliser, réparer, remettre à neuf, remanufacturer, réutiliser, recycler et récupérer. Il est important de souligner que l'économie circulaire ne se résume pas à un recyclage supplémentaire. Elle demande une refonte de notre approche dans le but de conserver la valeur des produits et des matériaux le plus longtemps possible dans l'économie. Je parle ici de la durabilité, Monsieur le Président. Monsieur le Président, le paragraphe 152 du programme gouvernemental 2020-2024 indique clairement que notre objectif est de détourner d'ici 2030 environ 70% des déchets générés par les décharges vers une transition écologique. Cet objectif est d'ailleurs repris de notre contribution déterminée au niveau national, le NDC, que nous avons soumis au secrétariat de la Convention cadre sur le changement climatique en 2021. Nous sommes conscients que la réduction de notre dépendance vis-à-vis de la décharge ne peut être obtenue qu'à travers une stratégie bien définie et un plan d'action cohérent. Dans ce contexte, mon ministère a mandaté une étude financée par l'Agence française de développement et qui comprend une nouvelle stratégie et un plan d'action de gestion des déchets solides pour Maurice. La nouvelle stratégie est axée sur la récupération et le recyclage des ressources. Après des consultations approfondies avec toutes les parties prenantes, une nouvelle stratégie de gestion des déchets solides et de récupération des ressources a été élaborée. Elle vise à maximiser la récupération et le recyclage des ressources à court et moyen terme, tout en exploitant le potentiel de récupération d'énergie des déchets à long terme. Le tri des déchets à la source est considéré comme primordial pour la réussite de cette initiative. L'introduction d'un système systématique de tri et de récupération des déchets générés au niveau des ménages, tels que les déchets de bois, les encombrants, les petits déchets dangereux, entre autres, ainsi que les mesures légales et financières pour les encourager, ont été recommandées à travers cette étude. Cela assurait l'approvisionnement continu de ressources non contaminées à l'industrie du recyclage, réduirait la quantité de déchets à enfouir et stimulerait l'économie grâce à la création de nouveaux emplois verts. Suite aux recommandations du rapport d'étude de faisabilité de l'Agence française de développement, mon ministère a fait appel au service de Transaction Advisor, à savoir Kukuza Project Development Company Limited, pour la préparation d'un appel d'offres, pour la mise en place et l'exploitation d'une installation intégrée de traitement des déchets, IWPF, sur la base d'un PPP, Private Public Partnership. Cet appel d'offres comprend aussi la construction et l'opération des usines de compostage régionales, des unités de tri et la production de combustible des déchets, le Refuse Derived Fuel, en tant que composante optionnelle. Ceci sera mis en œuvre sur la base d'un partenariat public-privé. Le Refuse Derived Fuel exclura les plastiques et le soumissionnaire pourra choisir de produire du Refuse Derived Fuel à partir des bois, des déchets verts, qui sera ensuite brûlé pour produire l'électricité en vue de remplacer partiellement le charbon, conformément à la politique du gouvernement en matière d'énergie renouvelable. Les appels d'offres ont été lancés le 30 novembre 2022 et seront clôturés le 14 avril 2023. Le dossier d'appel d'offres prévoit que le secteur privé conçoive, finance, construise, exploite les installations de compostage et de centres de tri pendant une période de 25 ans. Compte tenu de l'investissement considérable qui sera requis par le secteur privé, le gouvernement veillera à ce qu'une quantité garantie de déchets triés soit fournie à l'exploitant de l'installation, garantissant ainsi la viabilité du projet. Le progrès accompli pour jauger le succès du tri à la source et du réacheminement des déchets verts, ces installations seront évaluées d'une façon régulière et, s'il est nécessaire, des modifications seront apportées au plan d'action. Monsieur le Président, l'exploitation de ces ressources sera accompagnée de la fourniture d'environ 3 poubelles aux ménages pour assurer la séparation à la source des différents composants du flux de déchets et d'une vaste campagne d'éducation et de sensibilisation. Ces actions encourageront la population à adhérer à cette initiative et à participer activement à la séparation des matières recyclables, des matières organiques et des déchets résiduels au niveau des ménages. Entre-temps, un certain nombre d'initiatives ont été déjà prises. Par exemple, 3 déchetteries ont été construites pour recevoir les déchets triés qui seront par la suite utilisés comme ressources pour les recycleurs. Ces 3 déchetteries ont été construites à La Chaumière, Poudre d'Or et La Laura. 2 autres régions sont ciblées, la région de Port-Louis et la brasserie à Curepipe. Autre initiative, l'acquisition d'une installation de traitement des pneus usagés sur la base d'un partenariat public-privé est en cours. Une étude de faisabilité sur les usines de biogaz pour la digestion anaérobie des déchets organiques ont été achevées. La fourniture aux ménages de bacs à compost pour le compostage des déchets organiques. Monsieur le Président, les véhicules hors d'usage, qui comprennent des véhicules abandonnés et les véhicules endommagés complètement, sont un problème majeur à l'île Maurice. Ils sont souvent jetés illégalement sur les terrains vagues et en bordure des routes, constituant un véritable eyesore. Dans ce contexte, une étude de faisabilité a été commanditée avec le soutien financier de l'Union européenne à travers le Africa Rise pour la mise en place et l'exploitation d'une installation de recyclage des véhicules hors d'usage à Maurice. Cette unité permettra la dépollution, le démontage et le recyclage des véhicules hors d'usage. L'étude de faisabilité a été achevée et nous sommes en train de travailler conjointement avec le ministère du Land Transport and Light Rail pour la révision du Road Traffic Act pour prendre en compte les véhicules en fin de vie. En outre, mon ministère travaille à l'élaboration d'un règlement prévoyant l'octroi d'une licence pour l'exploitation d'une telle installation de recyclage des véhicules hors d'usage. Mon ministère prépare également de nouvelles recommandations pour la gestion des déchets électriques et électroniques et pour la collecte et le recyclage des contenants de boissons, y compris les bouteilles en PET, sur la base d'un remboursement de la consigne, dans le cadre du système de la responsabilité élargie des producteurs. Monsieur le Président, mon ministère est également en train de finaliser une feuille de route sur l'économie circulaire à Maurice, avec l'aide du Programme des Nations Unies pour l'environnement. Cette feuille de route comprendra le cadre politique proposé avec les principaux catalyseurs, les mesures économiques et financières. Ce nouvel outil juridique nous aidera à mettre en œuvre les politiques et les outils économiques identifiés dans la feuille de route avec un calendrier précis. Monsieur le Président, malgré la mise en place et l'exploitation de la récupération des matériaux par le biais d'unités de compostage et de tri, il y aura toujours des déchets résiduels à éliminer. Notre objectif est d'assurer un détournement maximal de la mise en décharge des déchets qui a été jusqu'à présent la méthode d'élimination finale. Il convient de souligner que compte tenu des contraintes liées à l'acquisition de l'espace pour garantir l'enfouissement, l'incinération des déchets pourrait être l'option à envisager à long terme, comme le recommande l'étude de l'Agence française de développement. Toutefois, la mise en œuvre de toute installation d'incinération des déchets pour la production d'énergie représente un gros investissement. Un échec d'un projet de ce genre sera très coûteux. Il est préconisé une étude de faisabilité appropriée qui devra donc être réalisée préalablement à la mise en place d'une telle centrale. Une telle étude devra prendre en considération principalement les quantités futures des déchets compte tenu des changements démographiques et socio-économiques. Aussi prendre en considération, et là il est très important, des valeurs calorifiques et du taux d'humidité des déchets. la stratégie nationale de gestion des déchets solides et du plan d'action qui seront révisés tous les 5 ans ou à tout autre moment déterminé, comme est prescrit dans ce projet de loi, pourrait reprendre l'option de valorisation énergétique des déchets. Monsieur le Président, à l'échelle mondiale, le secteur de la gestion des déchets représente environ 3,5% des émissions anthropiques de gaz à effet de serre. De nombreux pays ont adopté des politiques en vue de réduire les déchets et de promouvoir l'économie circulaire. Le rapport des Nations Unies sur les objectifs de développement durable, les ODD, de 2022 indique que les modes de consommation et de production non durables sont à l'origine de la triple crise mondiale du changement climatique, de la perte de la biodiversité et de la pollution. De telles crises et la dégradation de l'environnement qui en résulte menacent le bien-être humain et la réalisation des objectifs de développement durable. La récupération des ressources fournit donc non seulement une base importante pour atteindre surtout les objectifs de développement durable numéro 12, consommation et production durable, mais également des étapes significatives pour atteindre les autres ODD tels que ODD 6, eau propre et assainissement, ODD 13, combattre le changement climatique, ODD 11, villes et communautés sûres, résilientes et durables, et ODD 14, vie sous l'eau, entre autres. Monsieur le Président, actuellement, il n'y a pas de législation dédiée à Maurice à la gestion des déchets solides. Les réglementations relatives au flux des déchets et spécifiques, ainsi que les dispositions générales, sont éparpillées dans la loi sur les collectivités locales, le Local Government Act, et la loi sur la protection de l'environnement, le Environment Protection Act. La situation actuelle a donc abouti à une approche fragmentée de la gestion des déchets solides. Il était donc grand temps que toutes les dispositions légales relatives aux déchets solides et de loi sera un texte législatif harmonisé et comblera les lacunes existantes. Il fournira une orientation stratégique et des guidelines sur les pratiques de gestion durable des déchets solides et dangereux, conformément aux principes de l'économie circulaire. Permettez-moi, Monsieur le Président, de souligner que cette nouvelle loi a été préparée par 2 consultants internationaux avec l'aide financière généreuse du Programme des Nations Unies pour le développement, le PNUD. Des consultations ont été menées avec toutes les parties prenantes par le biais d'ateliers de travail et de validation. Monsieur le Président, les éléments clés de cette législation concernent la prévention de la production des déchets en premier lieu. De ce fait, cette nouvelle loi qui concerne la gestion des déchets ainsi que la récupération des ressources pourra être considérée comme le tremplin vers la mise en œuvre d'une approche d'économie circulaire dans le secteur des déchets solides à Maurice. Il dynamisera et renforcera l'industrie du recyclage à Maurice, qui est encore à ses balbutiements. Avoir plus de capacité pour recycler, réutiliser ou remanufacturer les déchets rendra plus solide la base d'une industrie élargie du recyclage et de la gestion des ressources. Ainsi, la création d'emplois verts dans le retraitement, le tri et la collecte des matériaux connaîtra une croissance. Monsieur le Président, l'élaboration des stratégies et d'actions, leur révision et l'application des nouvelles dispositions du projet de loi nécessite une structure institutionnelle forte. Les articles 4 à 7 du projet de loi prévoient la création d'un département de la gestion des déchets et de la récupération des ressources. Ce département sera le régulateur exclusif pour la gestion des déchets et aura des responsabilités élargies allant du développement des politiques et stratégies nationales à l'octroi des licences. Le département disposera d'un personnel adéquat et compétent pour s'acquitter des tâches et des responsabilités prévues par ce projet de loi. L'article 9 du projet de loi prévoit également la création d'un comité national de coordination pour la gestion des déchets avec tous les acteurs concernés. Ce comité assurera la coordination et la coopération entre les services gouvernementaux, les autorités locales et les autres institutions engagées dans la gestion des déchets, les projets et les programmes d'économie circulaire. Il surveillera et examinera également les progrès et les réalisations de la mise en œuvre de la stratégie et du plan d'action nationaux de gestion des déchets solides. Monsieur le Président, l'article 15 du projet de loi fournit des orientations spécifiques et des éléments à prendre en compte pour déterminer si des matériaux et produits spécifiés doivent être considérés comme des déchets, ou plutôt comme un produit ou une matière première secondaire. Cette distinction est d'une importance capitale pour remplir deux objectifs, à savoir la protection de l'environnement et le maintien de l'industrie du recyclage. L'article 16 de ce projet de loi prévoit la préparation d'une stratégie nationale régulière de gestion des déchets solides et de plans d'action, ce qui n'est pas prévu dans notre cadre juridique actuel. La stratégie sera appelée à être réexaminée tous les 5 ans et le plan d'action réexaminé tous les 5 ans. Les principes et le contenu de la stratégie et du plan d'action ont également été définis dans le projet de loi. Il veillera à ce que les mécanismes et les programmes à mettre en œuvre soient conformes aux principes de la circularité. Monsieur le Président, la partie 6 du projet de loi prévoit les devoirs et les pouvoirs des autorités locales. Les autorités locales jouent un rôle crucial pour assurer le nettoyage et la propreté dans le pays. Ils ont toujours fourni un service efficace de collecte de déchets, soit en interne, soit en sous-traitance, soit grâce à une combinaison des deux méthodes, dans toute l'île, pour assurer que nos déchets soient collectés chez les ménages et les commerces afin de protéger la santé publique. De telles pratiques ont assuré pendant des années un état de propreté dans le pays. Le niveau de prestation des services a été amélioré au fil des années pour répondre au rapide développement économique et urbain et pour répondre aussi aux nouvelles attentes d'une société dynamique. Monsieur le Président, avec ce nouveau projet de loi, les autorités locales seront appelées à jouer un rôle crucial dans les concepts de circularité et d'approche intégrée des déchets. Et il est logique qu'elles soient incluses dans le processus de décision politique. Les articles 23 et 26 du projet de loi prévoient la collecte et le transport des déchets ménagers et commerciaux par les autorités locales. La séparation des déchets dans les locaux du producteur, en amont dans la chaîne de gestion des déchets, est important pour garantir que les matériaux de valeur qui peuvent être réinjectés dans l'économie ne soient pas contaminés et puissent ainsi conserver leur valeur économique pour la circularité. Les autorités locales seront appelées à acquérir et à déployer des véhicules appropriés pour collecter les déchets séparés de manière efficace. Une campagne de sensibilisation approfondie sera menée pour éduquer la population sur la manière de trier les déchets à la source. Et là, nous comptons de la collaboration de tous les secteurs de l'économie et bien sûr aussi du secteur éducatif. La soumission régulière d'informations sur la production des déchets, la disponibilité de ressources humaines et matérielles et les coûts de gestion des déchets est une obligation en vertu de l'article 17 pour les autorités locales dans le cadre de la stratégie et du plan d'action nationaux pour la gestion des déchets solides. Monsieur le Président, nous ne devons pas oublier les générateurs de déchets. Ici, là, Monsieur le Président, un changement de mentalité et d'attitude s'impose. Les producteurs de déchets sont appelés à assumer un rôle plus responsable dans la récupération des matériaux. Les articles 18 et 19 du projet de loi définissent les devoirs et obligations des producteurs de déchets et des institutions en matière de gestion des déchets, conformément aux principes susmentionnés. Le projet de loi prévoit des dispositions pour les institutions générant plus de 10 mètres cubes de déchets par semaine, des obligations supplémentaires concernant les plans de séparation, de recyclage et d'élimination sûre des déchets, ainsi que la tenue de registres et l'établissement de rapports sont imposés à ces grands producteurs de déchets. Monsieur le Président, les articles 27 à 32 de la partie 7 du projet de loi portent sur la gestion des déchets dangereux et prévoient que toute personne qui produit, manipule ou gère des déchets dangereux doit s'assurer que les déchets soient gérés d'une manière qui protège la santé humaine et l'environnement et, bien sûr, contre les effets néfastes de ces déchets. Les nouvelles dispositions vont nous permettre de mieux respecter nos obligations aux traités internationaux. Celles-ci concernent la Convention de Bâle sur le contrôle des mouvements transfrontaliers de déchets dangereux et de leur élimination, et celle de la Convention de Bamako sur l'interdiction d'importer en Afrique et sur le contrôle des mouvements transfrontaliers et la gestion des déchets dangereux en Afrique. De plus, les articles 27 à 29 prévoient que des règlements pourront être promulgués en ce qu'il s'agit de déclarer quels déchets peuvent être prescrits comme déchets dangereux. Les contrôles de la collecte, du transport, du stockage, de la manutention, du pré-traitement, de la récupération et de l'élimination des déchets dangereux et de leur traçabilité, de la génération à la destination finale. S'assurer qu'au cours de la collecte, du transport et du stockage temporaire, les déchets dangereux sont classés, séparés, emballés et étiquetés, conformément aux normes internationales en vigueur. Les dispositions susmentionnées ont pour objet d'assurer la gestion écologiquement rationnelle des déchets dangereux. Des directives et des prescriptions techniques minimales seront établies de la collecte à la récupération et à l'élimination des déchets dangereux de manière à assurer la protection de la santé humaine et de l'environnement. Monsieur le Président, par ailleurs, conformément au principe du pollueur-payeur, le projet de loi sur la gestion des déchets et la récupération de ressources prévoit des réglementations, des regulations, pour la perception de redevances pour la gestion des déchets dangereux. Ainsi, l'article 30 du projet de loi prévoit le recouvrement des dépenses auprès des producteurs d'un déchet dangereux pour prévenir, éliminer ou réduire les effets néfastes des déchets dangereux sur la santé publique et l'environnement. Il prévoit également le recouvrement des coûts de toute opération de nettoyage, dans le cas où les déchets dangereux représentent un risque immédiat pour la santé humaine et l'environnement. Les déchets dangereux sont également générés par les ménages. Cependant, il n'existe actuellement aucun système établi pour leur collecte. L'article 31 du projet de loi prévoit que des dispositions spéciales doivent être prises par le département pour la collecte séparée des déchets dangereux générés par les ménages afin de garantir qu'ils ne contaminent pas d'autres flux de déchets et qu'ils soient gérés d'une manière écologiquement rationnelle. J'aimerais préciser que le nouveau contrat d'exploitation de l'entreposage des déchets dangereux de la chaumière prévoit la collecte et le traitement des déchets ménagers dangereux. Cela garantira que les déchets triés au niveau des ménages, qui seront utilisés comme matière première pour le compostage et le recyclage, ne soient pas contaminés par des déchets dangereux. C'est une préoccupation qui a toujours été soulevée par les utilisateurs locaux de compost et qui sera abordée par le biais de ce projet de loi. L'article 32 du projet de loi prévoit l'élaboration d'une stratégie et du plan d'action de gestion des déchets dangereux pour lesquels il n'existe pas de disposition juridique de ce type jusqu'à présent. La stratégie de gestion des déchets dangereux, ici aussi, doit être révisée tous les 10 ans, tandis que le plan d'action doit être révisé tous les 5 ans. Monsieur le Président, l'article 46 du projet de loi prévoit la mise en place et la mise en œuvre du système de responsabilité élargie des producteurs, le REP, le Extended Producers Responsibility. La REP est une approche de politique environnementale dans laquelle la responsabilité d'un fabricant pour un produit particulier ne se limite pas au processus de production et de la profitabilité du produit, mais s'étend à l'étape post-consommation du produit, y compris la reprise, la réutilisation et le recyclage et le traitement final. En tant que tel, le système REP transfère la responsabilité de la gestion des déchets des agences gouvernementales aux importateurs et producteurs du produit. Monsieur le Président, assurer l'application et le respect des règles sont au cœur de cette nouvelle législation. L'intention de cette législation et des réglementations qui en découleront est d'orienter les comportements vers des pratiques moins gaspilleuses. Toutes les autorités compétentes seront habilitées à appliquer pleinement les différentes dispositions. En outre, des dispositions spécifiques sont disponibles pour les déchets dangereux, qui doivent être gérés séparément des déchets solides en raison de leurs impacts potentiellement élevés sur la santé humaine et l'environnement. Le projet de loi prévoit en outre des infractions et des peines correspondantes en cas de contravention à ces dispositions. Monsieur le Président, l'article 50 prévoit un pouvoir réglementaire pour soutenir ce projet de loi. L'article 52 prévoit des modifications de la loi sur les collectivités locales et de l'Environment Protection Act et de la loi sur le contrôle des produits chimiques dangereux. La section 59 du Local Government Act sera abrogée, étant donné que les responsabilités en matière d'élaboration de politiques et de stratégies relatives aux déchets relèveront désormais du ministère de la Gestion des déchets et de la récupération des ressources. En outre, la collecte de certains déchets dangereux par les autorités locales sera désormais soumise à l'approbation du département de la gestion des déchets et de la récupération des ressources. La loi sur les collectivités locales est également modifiée pour prévoir l'obligation des collectivités locales de soumettre les informations nécessaires pour permettre l'élaboration de la stratégie et le plan d'action national en matière de gestion des déchets solides. L'article 53 prévoit la révocation des règlements en matière de déchets solides et dangereux émanant de l'Environment Protection Act et du Local Government Act. Toutefois, la révocation ne sera effective qu'une fois que les regulations correspondants auront été finalisées dans le cadre de cette nouvelle loi. Une période de transition sera ainsi accordée pour s'assurer d'une bonne transition. Je tiens à préciser que mon ministère a déjà commencé à travailler sur les amendements à être apportés aux différentes regulations, comme mentionné à l'article 53. Monsieur le Président, je ne peux pas, en présentant ce projet de loi, faire abstraction de ce qui s'est passé à la décharge de Marchicose l'année dernière. L'incendie qui s'est déclaré à la décharge est une autre raison importante pour soutenir ce projet de loi, car il garantira que tous les types de déchets ne soient pas déversés sans discernement dans la décharge. Mes collègues des deux côtés de la Chambre savent peut-être que les déchets organiques biodégradables mis en décharge subissent une dégradation d'anaérobie qui entraîne la libération de méthane, un gaz hautement inflammable qui augmente également la température dans la masse de déchets une fois libérés. De plus, les risques d'incendie associés sont exacerbés par la présence de combustibles tels que les plastiques et le papier. Ce projet de loi sera donc un instrument de base qui favorisera le détournement des déchets organiques biodégradables et recyclables vers des installations dédiées telles que des usines de compostage, des usines de digestion d'anaérobie et des installations de tri et de recyclage. Ce faisant, les risques d'incendie au site d'enfouissement seront grandement réduits. L'atténuation des impacts du changement climatique représente l'un des défis environnementaux les plus importants. L'augmentation de la réutilisation, du recyclage et du compostage représente une opportunité sensible pour réduire les gaz à effet de serre et lutter contre le changement climatique. Ce projet de loi apportera une révolution dans le secteur de la gestion des déchets solides. Nous cherchons à réaliser le potentiel économique de l'innovation dans les technologies de récupération des déchets et des ressources, tout en protégeant notre environnement grâce à la réduction des émissions et à une meilleure utilisation de nos ressources naturelles. Ce gouvernement s'est engagé à fournir le bon cadre pour attirer les investissements et stimuler l'innovation et créer des emplois verts. Cette nouvelle législation apportera une certitude réglementaire et des règles de jeu plus équitables qui favoriseront une croissance accrue du secteur de la récupération des ressources. Ce gouvernement, sous la direction du Premier ministre, honorable Pravin Kumar Jagnnath, s'efforce de moderniser la gestion de nos déchets solides conformément aux meilleures pratiques mondiales en jetant des bases solides pour qu'un changement de paradigme se produise en matière de déchets solides. Je tiens ici à rappeler à la Chambre que les résolutions EA4, résolution 1, et EA5, résolution 11, adoptées par l'Assemblée des Nations Unies pour l'environnement lors de ses 4e et 5e sessions, décrivent la circularité comme permettant l'émergence d'une économie dans laquelle les produits et les matériaux sont conçus de manière qu'ils peuvent être utilisés, remanufacturés, recyclés et valorisés, et ainsi maintenus dans l'économie aussi longtemps que possible, ainsi que les ressources dont ils sont constitués, et la génération des déchets, en particulier des déchets dangereux, est évitée ou minimisée, et les émissions de gaz à effet de serre sont évitées ou réduites. Ce projet s'efforce d'atteindre ceci, Monsieur le Président. Monsieur le Président, ce projet de loi constitue un tournant décisif dans la gestion des déchets dans le pays. Il établit l'infrastructure juridique nécessaire pour nous permettre à faire face aux défis futurs et de renforcer notre résilience. Monsieur le Président, des amendements mineurs que je pourrais proposer au committee stage ont été déjà circulés. J'invite mes collègues, les députés de deux côtés de la Chambre, à contribuer dans le débat et à apporter leur suggestion à ce projet de loi. Permettez-moi également de remercier toutes les parties prenantes qui ont contribué à l'élaboration du projet de loi par leurs commentaires et suggestions valables dans le processus des consultations qui ont été menées. Sur ce mot, Monsieur le Président, je recommande le projet de loi à la Chambre. Merci.
Seconded. Honorable Mia.
Yes. Mr. Speaker, this Waste Management and Resource Recovery Bill comes at a very opportune time. There has indeed been questioned in recent days a lot of wastage of public funds, and of course I'm referring to the observation made by the Director of Audit in his last report. In this context, an anti-waste management and financial resources recovery bill seems to be more urgent, that is, the recovery of public funds. I will have the opportunity to come back to the negative impact on this unbridled waste of public funds on the circular economy later, Mr. Speaker. Monsieur le Président, pour le moment, je vais me limiter à la gestion des déchets solides. Selon un rapport publié conjointement par Business Mauritius et le Programme des Nations Unies pour le développement, et là je vais me référer à ce rapport durant mon intervention, surtout les bases de données qui contiennent dans le rapport. La gestion des déchets solides est l'un des principaux défis environnementaux auxquels Maurice est confronté, en partie en raison des modes de production et de consommation non durables et du modèle commercial linéaire traditionnel. Les déchets solides ont augmenté de 29% entre 2010 et 2020 et de plus de 100% au cours des 20 dernières années. Avec une population d'1,2 million d'habitants, la quantité moyenne de déchets solides par habitant éliminés quotidiennement à la décharge a augmenté régulièrement, passant de 0,6 kg en 2000 à 1,1 kg en 2019, générant environ 537 147 tonnes par an. En 2019, les déchets étaient le deuxième plus grand contributeur aux émissions de gaz à effet de serre, estimé à 23%, après les émissions d'énergie fossile qui s'élèvent à 74,2%. Environ 95% des déchets provenaient des ménages et des activités commerciales, 3% du secteur industriel et le reste du secteur de la construction. Le gouvernement dépense environ 1,5 milliard et le ministre nous a dit 1,8 milliard de roupies par an pour l'exploitation et l'entretien des stations de transfert et du site d'enfouissement, ainsi que pour le transport des déchets vers les décharges. Le rapport tire la sonnette d'alarme car l'île Maurice est actuellement confrontée à des graves défis environnementaux, tels que l'augmentation du niveau de déchets, principalement dû à des systèmes de production et de consommation non durables, et la population due à la consommation croissante d'énergie fossile. Force est de constater, Monsieur le Président, que la situation est alarmante et je vais donner des exemples. Les pneus usagés sont parmi les sources de déchets les plus problématiques. La quantité de pneus usagés éliminés reste importante. Selon les chiffres de recyclage déclarés, 647,7 tonnes ont été réchappées en 2019. Pourtant, en 2019, 564 tonnes de pneus en caoutchouc ont atterri à la décharge de Marchicose. Et par rapport au nombre de véhicules à l'île Maurice, ces chiffres représentent environ 10% selon les informations. Une grande quantité est donc éliminée autour de l'île, donc dans la nature. Une grande quantité, et il nous convient de mentionner que le pneu neuf figure parmi les 20 importations des marchandises les plus importées à l'île Maurice. Parallèlement, ce qu'on appelle le e-waste, les déchets électroniques également appelés déchets d'équipements électriques et électroniques, comprennent les ordinateurs portables, les imprimantes, les télécopieurs et les appareils ménagers tels que les réfrigérateurs et les appareils ménagers, les appareils à laver, etc., téléviseurs, radios destinés à être jetés. La consommation de ces produits a augmenté massivement au fil des ans et cette tendance devrait se poursuivre à l'avenir. Les déchets électroniques comprennent généralement les métaux ferreux, plastiques, le verre, les cartes, les circuits imprimés et d'autres articles. D'après une analyse des données du département des douanes, des statistiques Mauritius et d'enquête auprès des grossistes et consommateurs, l'étude a estimé que la quantité de ces déchets était de 6 571 tonnes en 2008, mais que seulement 1 600 tonnes avaient été jetées dans les décharges. Cela représentait 5,6 kg par habitant à Maurice en 2008. Celle-ci était estimée à 6,2 kg en 2011, d'après une présentation de la division de la gestion des déchets solides sur les responsabilités élargies des producteurs sur les équipements électriques et électroniques. Il est indiqué qu'environ 8 000 tonnes sont générées chaque année, soit environ 6,4 kg par habitant. Une très faible quantité de déchets électroniques est actuellement recyclée localement. 115 tonnes seulement en 2019, selon les chiffres officiels. En utilisant un chiffre de 8 000 tonnes, il existe donc un énorme potentiel de création de plus d'intrants dans les matières premières secondaires à partir des déchets électroniques non traités restants. Aussi, Monsieur le Président, il y a la problématique d'huile de moteur. Compte tenu du nombre croissant de véhicules et du niveau des activités industrielles, l'élimination aléatoire des huiles moteurs usagées autour de l'île a des forts impacts négatifs sur l'environnement. L'huile usée attire une variété de contaminants dangereux lorsqu'elle est utilisée dans les moteurs et les transmissions et peut potentiellement contaminer les eaux souterraines. Maurice importe des tonnes d'huile moteur chaque année, mais il n'y a actuellement aucune collecte officielle et il n'y a pas de traçabilité de l'endroit où va l'huile de moteur usagée, Monsieur le Président. Monsieur le Président, nous voyons que les éboueurs qui sillonnent les rues de nos villes et villages à bord des camions, comme on dit, ramasse saleté, accomplissent une tâche difficile au service de la santé publique. Ils sont parfois contraints d'effectuer leurs tâches dans des conditions des plus déshumanisantes. Leurs tâches se compliquent en l'absence des normes basiques telles que la non-utilisation systématique des sacs poubelles et des déchets organiques non triés. Et pourtant, Monsieur le Président, sous l'Environment Protection Act, on prévoit des standards 43 for non-hazardous waste. The Minister shall prescribe standards for the collection, transportation, storage, processing, disposal and recycling of non-hazardous waste. Je ne sais pas, Monsieur le Président, si tel règlement est appliqué. Il est urgent d'humaniser le travail de ces hommes et ces femmes, d'assurer leur sécurité de travail. Les déchets ménagers collectés par des départements de la santé publique et des collectivités locales étaient initialement cheminés vers des dépotoirs à ciel ouvert, occasionnant diverses formes de pollution, dont des incendies causant d'énormes dégâts. Avec la création d'un centre d'enfouissement de morchicose, le business ramasse-saleté est devenu lucratif et les dépotoirs étaient devenus des mines d'argent. La collecte, le transfert et les déchets de la gestion du site d'enfouissement est devenu une filière, un filon en raison des juteux contrats. Je constate malheureusement qu'au niveau de la gestion des déchets, ce sont les considérations financières qui ont préséance sur les considérations écologiques et toute la stratégie vise à transformer la gestion des déchets en une industrie brasant des millions, sinon des milliards, et offrant des contrats mirobolants. Mr. Speaker, according to a study by the World Bank, lower income countries spend about 35 USD per ton and sometimes higher on waste operation. In Mauritius, the figure would be around $45 per ton. It is indeed quite a lot of resources that are required for the waste sector. With the abolition of the municipal rates, central government has no partial recovery of cost and has to foot wholly the bill, and the present bill today in this House is nothing but a scheme to reintroduce a municipal and a rural tax under a different name through the back door. Let me come to the section 23 of the bill, collection of waste. Section 2, a local authority may, for the purpose of subsection 1 and with approval of the minister, prescribe a fee for the collection and disposal of household waste, commercial waste and industrial waste. Monsieur le Président, c'est une taxe dans les villes et les villages sous l'emballage de l'économie circulaire. Cost recovery for waste differs drastically from around the world. User fees range from around $35 per year in low-income countries to 170 USD per year in high-income countries. How will this fee be determined, Mr. Speaker? According to the 2022 housing census, there was a total of 329 buildings and 411,700 housing units and 365,000 private households were enumerated in the Republic of Mauritius. C'est une manne de plusieurs millions, sinon des milliards chaque année. Une unité de recyclage sera mise sur pied et recyclera peut-être 10% des déchets. Toute la presse en parlera et on montrera quelques produits recyclés à la télé. Une grosse battage médiatique, gros budget au nom de l'écologie financé par les pollueurs, payeurs qui passeront le bill aux consommateurs. Mais les 90% restants, Monsieur le Président, il faut réfléchir par rapport à ça. Et la section 24, receptacles for household waste, a local authority may, for the purpose of section 23 and segregation at source, by notice served on the occupier of any household premises, require him to place waste meant for collection by the local authority in such number of receptacles which shall be such type as may be identified in the notice. A local authority may, at the request of any person, supply him on payment on such fee as may be prescribed by it, with the approval of the minister, with receptacles and roll-on off and off trucks for the collection of household waste. Avant, c'était les collectivités locales qui fournissaient gratuitement les poubelles. Maintenant, c'est le ministre qui va décider qui va avoir les poubelles, Monsieur le Président. 400 000 ménages par 3 poubelles et 1 000 roupies par poubelle. Faites le calcul, ça vous fait 1,2 milliard de roupies pour les poubelles. Un marché énorme, se chiffrant, comme je vous ai dit, à plus d'1 milliard de roupies. D'autant que l'argent va forcément attirer beaucoup de businessmen à l'affût d'une fiesta assurée. Il faut que cette distribution soit faite de façon équitable et non politisée, Monsieur le Président. The bill, Mr. Speaker, sir, is to provide for the regulatory framework to ensure the environmentally safe and sound management of solid waste and hazardous waste and a sustainable waste management system through the adoption of a circular economy approach, focusing on waste reduction, reuse, treatment, safe disposal, material recovery, and recycling. The only new element, Mr. Speaker, in this beautiful narrative is a circular economy approach, a buzzword that has been around for some time. Le gouvernement, à travers ce projet de loi, dresse la table pour une privatisation à grande échelle des opérations relatives à la gestion des déchets rendues attrayantes par un cost recovery mechanism sous le nouvel emballage de circular economy. A circular economy aims to maintain the value of products, materials and resources for as long as possible by returning them into the product cycle at the end of their use, while minimizing the generation of waste. The fewer products we discard, the lesser material we extract, the better for our environment. The circular economy has become a go-to concept that has caught the attention of all sectors of society in the recent years and has become popular, especially in government and corporate sectors. Given the socio-ecological challenges, namely climate change and biodiversity loss, the concept of CE could indeed, in theory, help the transition to a sustainable, just and resilient future. But this is in theory. What in practice? The actual definition, objectives, and norms of implementation of the CE are still unclear, inconsistent, and contested. And I shall rapidly elaborate on some diverging views on the circular economy. With the inequalities in wealth which exist at the moment, and ecological ambition is almost impossible. Some social and environmental scientists argue that we need to construct new norms of social, educational, fiscal, and climate justice through democratic discussion. No ecological transition is possible with the present hyper-concentration of economic power. On the contrary, the economy of the 21st century must be based on the permanent circulation of power, wealth, and knowledge. Different actors and sectors tend to align the circular economy concept with their interests, which often do not sufficiently examine the ecological, social, and political implications of circularity. Nevertheless, most of the CE speeches have actually been developed by actors in the government and private sectors, which have specific political and economic agendas and have often used the CE as a narrative device for greenwashing. In fact, Mr. Speaker, the circular economy is based on an ideological agenda dominated by technical and economic accounts, which bring uncertain contribution to the sustainability and of sustainable growth. Due to the immense challenges and limitations of recycling and recovery activities, a fully CE might be just an illusion. That is, circular economy would require a capping global resource use at a certain sustainable level so that the economy can run only on recovered and renewable sources. Yet, considering the large unmet needs of over 45% of the global population, which remains in poverty worldwide, according to the World Bank in 2000 and 2019, capping material resource use are critical geopolitical dimension necessitates an essential reconsideration of normative questions and regarding global justice, well-being, worldwide wealth distribution. Research has found that many production systems that define themselves as circular can lead to greater environmental impacts than their linear counterparts. Transforming consumption and production structures based on materialism, convenience, and ownership to ones based on collaborative consumption, sharing economies, and use values easier said than done. More households, according to the CSO, are leaving the neighborhood shops to buy groceries from supermarkets and hypermarkets. 91% in 2017 and against 82% in 2012. Can circular economy emerge in a throwaway economy and a consumer society based on planned obsolescence of goods, designed to break quickly or become obsolete in the short to mid-term?
Yes.
I'm almost done, Mr. Speaker. As capitalism cannot operate in a context of degrowth, which would mean that a fully CE is also inherently incompatible with the current productivist economic system. Other vitally important questions, such as whether the CE will lead to more meaningful jobs, closer communities, greater social equity, and global solidarity, or rather to increase precarity, inequality, and neo-colonialism, need to be addressed. Many initiatives could have been taken if the government was truly committed to the set rolling of an ecological transition in the solid waste. Greenhouse gas emissions contribute directly or indirectly to global warming. The energy sector remains the largest contributing sector and accounted to 79.3% of the total emission, followed by the waste sector with 10.9%. Almost 50% of the waste generated is organic. Composting of organic and green waste could contribute to a substantial decrease in volume of waste landfilled and thereby decreasing the volume generated. Mr. Speaker, the reliance upon chemical fertilizers can hence be reduced. Mauritius is a small island of around 2,000 square kilometers with a small population. We cannot just copy and paste any kind of strategy which is done elsewhere and apply it without any clear strategic direction and detailed budgeting. What are the financial implications and the expected quantitative and qualitative results of this project? Has any time frame been set, Mr. Speaker? Our small size and our long tradition of local government can provide a suitable environment for implementing a safe and sound, decentralized and cost-effective and low-carbon waste collection with effective participation. It is not because collection and disposal of waste is vital to the society that this sector should rather be transformed in a money-making machine. To conclude, Mr. Speaker, piecemeal approach does not work on the environmental front. It is not a question of green patchworking now and then or here and there. Relevant ministries and enforcing agencies should plan, act and operate in symbiosis and performance indicators monitored. I'm done, Mr. Speaker.
Members, I'll suspend the sitting for 45 minutes.